Hey, good morning, team. It is Tuesday, October 22nd. I'm Amy Corr, and I'm here with the amazing Kevin Van Eck. And we've got our coffees hot today, right?
That's right. Hot.
That's right.
It's getting colder outside. Time for hot coffee.
That's right, hot coffee. And we've got a great topic for you today as well. We are going to be talking about focusing on just one thing. Believe it or not, we're going to narrow in on one thing and talk about how that can help you get your business moving forward. So on that note, grab your hot coffee and let's jump into the next episode of Coffee with Amy and Kevin.
Hit it. Good morning, Amy.
All right, let's do it.
Good morning, everybody. Thanks for joining us again. Yes, we're going to talk about just one thing.
That's right.
And this is a time where we find ourselves overwhelmed. What is it? It's the end of the year. We're talking about business planning.
We're moving into the holidays.
That's right.
Yeah.
Everything is stressful at this point, right? Because you're realizing all the things you haven't done up to this point this year. You're looking at your production or numbers, and no matter whether, what goals we set, a lot of times we look back and it's overwhelming because we didn't hit what we wanted to.
Yeah.
And as we business plan, we think about all the things we need to do or should do or feel like we're putting pressure on ourselves. So what happens? We overwhelm ourselves by trying to do too much, right? So let's think about from the personal side first. A good analogy, I've got one myself. I was going to start eating healthier Q4. So I said, you know what, we're going to eat a lot of chicken and vegetables, and we're going to make it very clean. Everything's in the freezer.
How's that going?
Everything's in the freezer. Vegetables are rotting, cauliflower's brown, whatever. But I went on the shopping spree because I was going to make this drastic change.
Right.
It didn't happen.
Yeah.
Similarly, a lot of us make plans for the gym or for working out, right? And we go from 0 to 60, meaning we go from doing nothing to now we're going to work out for an hour and a half, 5 days a week. And what happens?
Well, usually I'm so sore I can't move after 2 days.
Yeah.
But you usually fall off by day 3 or 4. Maybe you'll even make it a week or 2. But usually we go from 0 to 100, right? And you just can't keep that pace forever. So at some point, it starts falling off, and then you feel defeated, right? Because you wanted to supercharge yourself back into what you expect yourself to be.
Yeah, you're disappointing because you set these lofty goals that are really hard to set when you are going from 0 to 100.
Yeah.
So from the business side, we do the same thing, right? If we haven't hit our goals for the year in production or transactions, we realize we didn't reach out to enough clients, or we didn't make enough connections, or we didn't send enough handwritten notes, or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
Now is when we set these crazy goals where we're going to send 50 handwritten notes a week, and
up.
we're going to make 100 phone calls a week, and we're going to do 25 real estate reviews every week. It's not going to happen, right? We're going to end up disappointing ourselves. We're going to overwhelm ourselves into paralysis.
And it's just like we suddenly overcompensate, right? All the way onto the other end, to your point. And then that actually makes us feel worse than we did when we were in that spot of thinking, ooh, I really need to do more. And it's funny because there's a lot of books, there's programs out there that really sort of talk about how do we kind of get back into it without overwhelming ourselves or, deciding that we have to go again from a 0 to 100.
Right.
Ninja calls it the power of stacking. We've got tiny habits and atomic habits that also talk about just doing one thing. So that's the idea of just one thing. Instead of feeling like I have to make 50 phone calls to make up for the last 4 months where I haven't done anything, let's just start with, can I make one phone call a day, right? So what we want to really encourage you to do right now is to think about what is one habit or one little thing that I can stack into my day that ultimately I can do. I can see some success. I can actually know that I can do it for longer than 2 or 3 days. And as I start doing it, and I think in many of these books, how long is it, Kevin, until it's considered sort of a habit or something that's just built into your day-to-day?
I think it was 21 days at a minimum.
All right, so that's going to be your goal. Your first one thing that you're going to do, you're going to try and do it for 21 days.
Right.
Or if it's Monday through Friday, during the week, 21 work days. But start thinking about to what you talked about, Kevin, if I haven't made any phone calls, let's say your goal might be just one phone call. It could be really warmed up. You can call your husband, your best friend, whatever it takes to get yourself into that routine, right? But just starting with that. And then what you do is once you've got that down after 21 days or 30 days, then you stack it with the next thing, right? So then we go to maybe handwritten notes is something that you're thinking about, right?
Right.
That's sort of the next goal. So thinking about right now, because this is such a great time of year, and I feel like some people do kind of throw in the towel. They sort of feel like it's October. If my year hasn't been great to this point, what's the point, right?
Just sit back.
And I say change that up, flip the script on yourself, because I actually think there is a lot of opportunity right now to do just one little thing, get yourself back in there, create some small wins to make yourself feel good, and then build off of it. And I will tell you, if you do that now in October, November, and December, your January is going to be better than if you do nothing, right? So we're telling you it's really easy, just one little thing. So next time when you go to the grocery store, just buy 1 carrot and 1 piece of chicken and make 1 healthy meal and see how it goes, Kevin.
That's right. I don't need the bulk cauliflower, the big 5-pound bag of carrots. But what's cool about this and what I love about it is you mentioned, the positive reinforcement side, the small wins, where if you make 1 call a day, and you get positive reinforcement, that call goes well, you're more likely to do it the next day versus planning on doing 20 calls and doing none. That doesn't inspire you the next day. And I also think, the compounding effect, the ninja stacking, where we don't realize even if you make 1 call a day, 5 days a week, and let's just say you do it 50 weeks out of the year, that's a significant number of connections you're making, even though it's only 1 a day.
I think it's an easy thing to do. It's something that honestly you can listen to us and implement it right after this video.
That's right.
So don't overthink it. Give yourself some grace. Recognize honestly probably all the things that you have accomplished already this year, and just know by taking on this concept of one little thing, making it a habit, stacking on top of it over time is going to create some great momentum, and it's not going to overwhelm you. So. On that note, make it a great Tuesday. Thanks for joining us. We can't wait to see you next time. But until then, remember, you got this.